Greetings. What do you need?
I'm here about the mine.
Excellent. So what did you find out?
It's been plundered and wrecked, but everything can be fixed. It'll be quite a job, but at least it won't have to be rebuilt from scratch.
That's a weight off my mind. And did you see anyone there? Thieves or suspicious types?
Nemoy and his gang were stealing silver there.
The vermin. I thought as much. Did you bring him here?
I tried to, but he was having none of it. He didn't want to burn, so he tried to kill me.
Well, I'm glad he didn't succeed. But now I won't be able to find out anything. Oh, well. Can't be helped, I suppose.
About my reward for the investigation.
Yes, of course. Actually, I don't believe any reward was mentioned. On the other hand, you surveyed everything as I asked, and that deserves a groschen or two.
And they tried to murder me.
Yes, of course. It's a sad world we live in. I'm sure you deserve a little extra coin for it.
It's been a pleasure.
Good. There you go, then.
A nice little sum. Thank you.
Enjoy it in good health.
Hey, watch it!
Good day.
So, are you happy with your new cook, Merchant Hagen?
Happy? It's a fucking nightmare.
Well, what's the matter? I chose her according to my best knowledge and conscience.
She certainly knows how to cook. Her food is excellent. But her stories...
Stories?
More like sermons, actually. All about the evils of Mammon, how Jesus threw the merchants out of the temple and whatnot. And it's all Father Francis this, Father Francis that. No doubt, Father Francis was a saint with infinite patience.
Well, the main thing is she knows how to cook, isn't it?
True. Her trout braised in wine with spices. Honestly fit for a king, I must admit. And she can manage all the housework. Perhaps in time she'll lose interest in preaching. I hope.
So, it seems things worked out well enough, didn't they?
Well, I asked for a cook and you sent me one, but...
Exactly. I did what you asked. So, about my reward.
Do you really think you deserve one?
Of course I do.
All right then. Here you are. What can I do for you?
There'll be quite a lot.
That's everything.
Thanks. Here's your change.
Good day to you. What do you need?
I've changed my mind.
You have you? Very well. My honestly begged groschen were taken from me by that bastard of a guard, Pazdera. He claimed I stole them and took them for himself, the swine. Well, if you can get them from his pocket back into mine, where they rightfully belong, I'll give you a share and teach you a handy trick too. What do you say?
All right. I reckon I can manage that. How much coin are we talking about?
Everything he has on him. Half is yours.
It all sounds a bit fishy.
Well, take it or leave it. But if you get my money back from Pazdera the guard, I'm sure I can put some more work your way.
Here's your groschen.
I followed you for a while and I didn't see you rob no one. But suit yourself. Coin is coin. I'll give you some of the groschen back, like I promised. And I've got another job for you.
What's this other job, then?
Everywhere you go here, you'll see wretches like me. Poor souls that don't have a pot to piss in and have to beg. Then take a look at rat-eye at all the gentlefolk with their noses in the air, looking out only for themselves, with not a moment's thought for the poor. Well, from one fine lady, you could get alms to feed the whole lot of us here.
Alms for everyone. That would be quite a purse. But I'll see what I can do.
That's the spirit. In return, I'll teach you something useful, and you'll get a share too, of course.
Here's the coin you wanted.
Good. Keep half for your effort. Interested in another job?
You mentioned another job. I'm all ears.
Aye. There's a good widow living in squalor with us in the camp. She sold the last memento she had of her sainted mother to a moneylender so she could feed her young ones. And now she's so torn with regret, she can't sleep nights.
You want me to get this memento back?
Just so. I'd do it myself, only I can't show my face on the town square without the catchpoles kicking my arse. Steal her ring back from that usurer, Wolf from Bruda. You can pick your own reward while you're at it. He's so rich it ain't decent.
I'll be right back.
You stop right where you are. Surrender! You've committed a violation. You're under arrest.
Hear me!
Got you. And now I'll fix you good and proper. You'll soon learn what justice means. Well, you won't forget this in a hurry, because it'll take a nice pile of coin to fix it.
Damn it. Here's your coin, then.
All right. Just make sure it doesn't happen again.
Kettles for water, baskets for goods, and torches for the night. I have it all.
What are you here for?
What's going on? The folk in town are talking about you.
They shot on me. That's what.
What? Who did?
All of them.
Wait. Tell me again from the start.
All right, if you want. They caught Peter of Dauba, George Weiss, and a fellow named Harold that everyone calls Frost. They're scum who've been hunted for months. Now they've finally been caught, there's a big execution being prepared. Folk will come from miles around to watch.
Well, that's a good thing for you, isn't it?
It would be, if I was fucking doing it.
What are you doing?
Isn't it the custom for you to do all the executions in Rattay?
It is. Not just the custom, but by bloody right. You're not being replaced, they said. This is just a loan of Gallows Hill.
Well, there must be some reason for it.
If you know of one, spit it out.
So who's doing the job?
They invited Executioner Heinz all the way from Kuttenberg. They say it's going to be a big show. Have I ever fucked up an execution? I always behead them in one blow. And when his lordship wants to drag out a hanging, I leave them kicking for minutes. If he wants it quick, they're stiff as soon as I drop them. And they push me aside like that, after all these years of service.
What can we do about it?
Nothing. His lordship's decided, and that's that.
Nothing? You think they should be allowed to get away with this?
Well, no, but...
You have the right to executions in Rattay, don't you?
I most certainly do.
Then you're in the right. Don't tell me you can't think what to do about it.
The trouble is, they already paid the executioner and he's come here along with his assistants.
We can't stop the executions, unless Heinz drops dead on the spot.
Which we don't want.
Indeed not. The best thing would be if he fucked up the executions. The famous Kuttenberg executioner can't handle the job. The mob would laugh him out of town and beg me to take over. They'd never invite him here again.
Great, so how do we go about it?
The problem is, I don't know what the sentences will be. They'll only announce them just before the executions, and then it'll be too late to do anything.
Can't we just get him blind drunk?
That wouldn't work. He's no beginner. And even if we did get him drunk, they'd just postpone the executions till he's sobered up.
Would the bailiff know more?
Maybe. But most likely only Heinz will know the sentence. I've got an idea, though. Will you help me?
Of course.
Great. Thank you, Henry.
So where should I start?
Find out from the bailiff what their crimes are, and then have a look in the Black Chronicle at the Rat House.
It goes back before my time. You're bound to find records of some similar offenders in it. You need to find people who committed the same crimes and came from the same sort of background, noble or lowborn. That way you can find out what the appropriate punishments are.
Then come back to me, and we'll work out what to do.
I'll get moving.
And Henry? They want to do the executions on my gibbet at Gallows Hill. I can hold them up for a while, but probably no more than a week.
I'll bear that in mind.
Get out of here.
I hear there's going to be a big execution here.
There certainly is. It'll be a glorious event for our town. They'll be talking about it for years.
Who's for the chop?
The biggest outlaws and reprobates for miles around. Peter of Dauba, George Weiss, and Frost Herald.
What did they do?
What didn't they do, more like? They caused trouble all over the country.
Who's this Peter of Dauba?
A noble who lost his fortune. He's been holding up merchants for months.
That's all?
At first, but then his gang started getting bloodthirsty. They wiped out a whole squad that was hunting them. He won't walk away from this.
What can you tell me about Herald?
They call him Frost because he's always cool as ice, until he starts. I've seen plenty of killers and thugs in my day, but that one's got the devil in him.
Why?
They say the only thing that'll put a smile on his face is the sound of screaming and weeping. That beast kills for pleasure. When they caught him, he had a candle made from the arm of an infant. For luck, he said.
Christ. What about Weiss?
No one actually knows where he came from, but they say the murdering started with him. He never leaves witnesses. He'd rather wipe out a whole village than take a chance.
Thanks, Bailiff. That's all I need to know. I need your advice.
Did you find out what they did? And did you read the Black Chronicle?
Yes.
So tell me what you found out, and I'll see what I can come up with. Just bear in mind, I can help you work it out, but you'll only find exactly what you need in the Ratai Black Chronicle. Every executioner has his own way of doing things, and this bastard might have different methods in mind.
Peter of Dauba has many murders on his soul, but he's still a nobleman. His neck is going on the block.
That makes sense. His crimes are great, but he's still a nobleman, so he gets an honorable death.
George Weiss is a bloodthirsty bastard who left a trail of corpses behind him. He hasn't earned an honorable death. He's for a long drop on a short rope.
A murderer deserves nothing better. That makes sense.
Frost Herald is the worst of them all, sent by Satan himself. The things he's done would make a demon blanch. The executioner will take his time with that one. He'll be begging to die. If I read correctly, it'll start with ripping the flesh.
Aye, could be. He deserves nothing better.
So, have we got everything we need?
We've covered all the possibilities. There's nothing more we can think up.
So, what's the plan then?
An executioner's greatest boast is to behead with one blow. That's why an executioner's sword needs to be a splendid piece of craftsmanship and sharp as a razor.
I follow you, but how can I get to the sword?
It won't be easy. The executioner's sword is one of his most valuable instruments.
Couldn't it just be switched for a different one?
He'd notice straight away. It's different than a regular sword, heavier with a blunt point. The balance is different too.
I could take yours and...
He'd recognize that too. An executioner knows his sword like the back of his hand. He'd notice as soon as he picked it up.
So I'll have to steal it, dull the blade, and put it back before anyone notices?
Yes, that's probably the only way.
That'll be interesting. And how can I dull the sword? Should I hack at a stone wall?
I thought you were a blacksmith, son. It's enough to cock up the honing. That will make much less noise.
That'll do me.
With ripping of the flesh, the bastard has to suffer, but survive as long as possible.
So, if Herald drops dead right at the start...
The executioner will look like a fool.
But how can I make sure it happens?
I don't know. It depends on the skill of the executioner. An experienced one starts in places where there's no threat of heavy bleeding, the sides, the chest.
And the Kuttenberg executioner is definitely experienced.
No doubt. They use a kind of special tongs, and in between the ripping, the convict's wounds are treated so he can take more.
What if I get the one who's supposed to dress the wounds drunk?
Don't do that. It could be someone from Ratai, and even if it isn't, the blame wouldn't fall on the executioner.
Maybe the tongs could be spiked with something nasty.
And you'd know what to use?
I know a little, and I might be able to get something.
That would work. Good idea, Hal.
That'll do me. What about the hanging?
If the rope breaks when it's done, it's an unbelievable disgrace for the executioner. Folk see it as the will of God, and sometimes he even has to let the condemned man go.
I could shoot the rope through from a distance with an arrow.
Don't be daft. No, you couldn't.
But I'm...
Where did you get such a stupid idea? From some wench? Even if you somehow hit it, that rope's much too strong.
Well...
And even if you did manage to shoot it through, do you really think nobody would notice?
Maybe it's not the best plan I've ever come up with.
I certainly hope not.
What about switching it?
That could work. I've got an old rope here I don't use anymore. It looks fine, but it's run. It'll be perfect.
Great, I'll use that. Supposing I just cut it?
I doubt it would work. The executioner will check it before the hanging when he's preparing the gallows. He'd probably notice.
That'll do me. Thanks.
I'm going to enjoy this. I'll have you. I'll have you. You. Gunda.
That should do it. It'll never hold the weight of a grown man.
Who's there?
And now, to blunt it. There. You couldn't chop the head off us.
Hey, who's there? Who's there?
If he tries to torture anyone with this, the lucky fellow will die quickly.